On today's episode of You Really Would Have to See It to Believe It, a tornado touched down about 2 miles from where I'm sitting right now. And when it occurred, I actually was in this barn with the cows and some sheep, and that was an experience. It was only an F1, but still a tornado touched down about 2 miles from here. We are very fortunate. And this morning on April 2nd in the wee hours of the morning, my husband and I were woken up by our oldest, who came in saying, I am hearing strange sounds in my room. It's keeping me up. I'm a little scared. I just want to sleep in your bed. So my husband and him swapped spots. The oldest was then laying in bed with me. Once the furnace kicked off, the thermostat kicked the furnace off, I could hear everything that was going on outside that I'm sure my oldest could hear from his room because he's in the furthest end of the house. So literally right next to the pasture that the cows have access to. The important part here is that the sound he was hearing was a very low beller, a sound that would be made by none other than a cow that literally just gave birth. And it was a low beller, and he was scared because he doesn't normally hear that. It's not that he's not around when they give birth, but we don't have enough cows that this becomes a regular thing for him. Cricket! Yeah. Come here. I pull up the cameras, I pull up the Blink cameras, I see nothing. Cricket, I swear to God, you are so dang cute. So I pull up the Blink cameras. I can't see anything in the barn from either of the 2 cameras. Stop chewing on my damn phone! So I can't see anything on either of the 2 Blink cameras. So I come to the realization that I am going to have to crawl out of bed and get dressed and wander outside in 30-degree temperatures while it is kind of misting and raining, which was ultra cool. Meanwhile, this is also after I went and picked up 50 hens from someone an hour away. I didn't get home until like 9:30 or 9. I had both the boys with me. It was a late night. I wander outside. I find exactly what I knew I would find. This is the same cow that dropped her calf on Maple Fest weekend last year, and it became hypothermic. We didn't find it in time, and he was beyond saving. Thankfully, this time, I don't know if the cow was extra vocal or I don't know. Cows aren't super cognitively able to understand and reason, but for some reason, she was bellowing, like so loudly. So I got out there. I'm a little fearful because the sound that she's making, tad bit aggressive. I thought I might have to fear for my life. Might be meeting Jesus, thank God. She wasn't actually aggressive towards me. She hates me, but she's not aggressive towards me. So she's talking away. I get to this calf. I try to pick him up, and I can't pick him up. The mud is too slick. We have a lot of clay soil. It's just not going to happen. So when I come to that realization, I call up my husband. Meanwhile, my hands are covered in mud. My phone is now covered in mud. And on the 3rd ring, he picks up, and I said, hon, this cow calved, and she dropped it out in the pasture, and I can't move it. I need you to come and carry this calf to the barn for me. And he goes, what? And I go, frick it. So he eventually gets dressed and gets ready to go. He comes outside, he picks up the calf, makes it look so easy. But of course, the calf was very muddy and slippery, so it took him a couple of times to get him all the way to the barn. We got him to the barn, and then Mama didn't want to have to clean him off. So he was caked in mud. I'm sure she had licked him off 3 times over, or maybe more. And by this time, she was just thoroughly exhausted. Cricket! So he gets her to the barn. She doesn't want to clean him off. I come down with massive quantities of towels. I start drying the calf off. She's not taking an interest. She doesn't really want to let him nurse. She doesn't want to clean him off. I come to the realization that I need to do something, or this calf is inevitably going to no longer be with us, and we would have a repeat of last year. So I go up to the shop, I locate the longest sled that I could find, the snow sled, like sledding down a hill. It has a string attached to it, thankfully, and I brought it down to the barn, and I struggled to load the calf. By the way, he was 85 pounds, so a decent sized calf, no wonder I couldn't lift him. I got him loaded into it and I dragged him up to the house. Now, of course, it is an incline up to the house. So this is quite the workout. I'm not exactly a huge person and I'm kind of in pretty decent shape. So I got 2 hours of sleep right before the cow woke us all up. Thankfully for my oldest, he came in and he was scared and he asked to come into our bed, or I never would have woken up. That's the reality. And this is life farming. And this is something that a lot of people don't think about. They try to romanticize. This is the ugly truth. This has happened. Last year we lost a calf. When you think about the financial repercussions of losing a calf in this market, that could be half or a third of the hay bill for the entire year for us. And we don't make any of our own hay. Back to the story. So I get the calf up to the house. My husband had just unplugged the coal stove, which is our warmest heat source, a few days ago. So of course that has gone out. I'm searching for the best, quickest heat source to produce large quantities of heat. I get towels, I throw them on high in the dryer. I have a heat pad that I also put on high, drape over the back of the calf. I'm doing the best that I can. I found a space heater that we have used out in the shop for the quail during like the very coldest parts of winter. Thankfully, that thing was pumping heat, and I think that is really what saved him. He also, once he got a little bit warmer, I did check his temperature. It was about 95 when I finally made the call to bring him up to the house. I'm not sure what it was when I found him out in the pasture, but I know it was low enough that I didn't want any part of that. So once he got a little bit warmer, he wasn't even, in my opinion, up to where he should be to want to eat. He started looking for a teat. So I had a bottle. I had already thawed milk, thinking ahead. I knew that Lucy, being a little crazy, if I tried to strip her out and milk her and feed him that milk, she would be trying to kill me and be kicking the snot out of me. So I just circumvented that, found some in the freezer and thawed it out. So he did drink almost an entire half bottle. And I proceeded to catch a 30-minute nap before school this morning. So I was rocking on 2.5 hours of sleep if I was lucky last night. And tonight I'm gonna sleep really good knowing that no calves are gonna be dropped out in the mud because I don't have any more due until June. I've got one more calf due for the year and it's due in June. So I'm thanking the good Lord. By the way, Lucy wasn't due until Thursday next week. So I don't know. I was hoping that she would wait until we were over spring break because our spring break, this was like last day of school. And of course my 2 a.m. escapade had to be the morning of the last day of school. So long story, even longer, we have a calf. He is alive. I was able to save him with the very critical help of my husband. And ladies, if you learn nothing else from me, find yourself a man or a woman, I guess if that's your thing, that will take the call at 2:30 in the morning, throw on clothes, and come out, pick up that calf, and carry it saturated in mud all the way back to the barn. Meanwhile, no complaints. No complaints whatsoever. And he also unloaded the 50 chickens that I had picked up the night before into the livestock trailer. I didn't even have to ask him. He just went, fed them, watered them, got them all set up, unloaded them in there. I'm telling you, I got so lucky when I found my husband, and I just find yourself one of those. Our marriage isn't perfect, but my goodness, I could not have found a more perfect man for me, and I am so lucky, so lucky.